Joining me now, Wolfe, managing editor of The Blaze, and Sam Seder, host of The Majority Report and an MSNBC contributor. I just don't know. I don't think we've ever seen anything like the last 2 weeks. Well, we haven't seen anything like the last 2 weeks in the last decade or so, I would say, and particularly from a sort of specifically scandal investigatory standpoint. What does it all add up to in your mind?
I don't think that we've seen anything like this. I mean, even a decade ago, because it's coming from so many different directions. And I really do think that there's a multitude of agendas at play here. I mean, I think we're seeing leaks from people around the FBI. I think we're seeing leaks from the national security state. But frankly, somebody's in the White House.
A lot of people in the White House.
You know, I
think they've turned on him. I think a lot of people have turned on him.
I think there's a lot of people have turned on him. I think, I know you tweeted the other day, you perceive Mike Pence as maybe some type of like House of Cards figure. I mean, there's a lot of reason to believe there are people in the White House who have a very strange agenda that doesn't have to do with Donald Trump getting himself out of this predicament.
You know, Leon, I've been tracking with some fascination the roiling debate on the right, which has been roiling ever since Donald Trump set up on the scene, and there's been really heated discussions about what the American right's relationship to him is. What has the last week done for that debate?
You know, it's interesting. You know, I think it's kind of crystallized with a lot of different people. I haven't seen a lot of people who I follow who have kind of gotten on the Trump bandwagon, or not even on the Trump bandwagon, but there were a lot of people who were like in my boat. I was, one of the never Trump people who, after he was elected, said, you know what, let's give the guy a chance. Let's hope he succeeds. I kind of hope, just for the sake of the country, that he doesn't do too much of a terrible job. I don't have much hope for that, but I mean, yes, still, that's what optimistically you would want the next 4 years not to be like the last 6 months. So I haven't seen a lot of people just jump off that bandwagon, but I mean, if you believe the polls, there are people there who voted for Trump who now think that he's doing a bad job. Right.
Yeah, that is a key point. We keep getting this sort of like, oh, he's at the floor. He's at, he's the lowest he's ever been in approval ratings. And the cumulative effect the last 2 weeks has been that there are people who are saying he's doing a bad job who didn't think that before.
Yes, but not as many as
you might suppose.
Think. And, we look at his numbers going down in terms of Republican approval, but we don't see, that's across the country. In those congressional districts, you can imagine that it's not hard to believe that those numbers are actually higher than they are, even amongst Republicans, generally speaking. And so, in terms of Donald Trump's performance and whatnot, of course, I don't want him to turn the country into a dumpster fire. But the fact is that the Republican Party is undergirding this guy. And even though there are people who have a problem with Donald Trump, the fact is the entire infrastructure.
Institutional.
I mean, and you can take it from John McCain picking Sarah Palin. You can take it from Mitt Romney going and kissing the ring. You can take it from John Boehner, who refused to tell his own caucus members, don't bring up birther bills. I mean, this is not coming out of any nowhere.
And the thing I think about, Leon, if you've ever been in a surprise party or a situation where you're blindfolded and someone's leading you, there's this sense you have of just like profound vulnerability, right? Like even if it's someone you trust. And right now, that's basically what's being done to Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell by Donald Trump. They do not know where this is going. It is remarkable to me that they are willing to walk along with this.
Yeah, I mean, I said all along throughout the 2016 election that it seemed to me to be kind of like a 1968 type of a feel, where the election issues were, I thought, more cultural than they were political. And I think a lot of people kind of miss that. And I think now we've like zoomed past the entire 68 through 72 period, and we're looking kind of 73, 74. That's what it feels a lot like. But I will say this, and I said this on Twitter earlier this week, as a guy who was a Republican back in the 90s, there were a lot of times we assumed that Bill Clinton was dead, the stake was through his heart, it was all over. And I hear kind of a lot of liberals with that same sort of elation. We've seen Donald Trump survive so much. That it's incredible. And
I agree with that. Ron Klain had a great piece about this, and you're nodding your head, and I want to bring this up. This is Brian Schatz, Hawaii Senator. Sorry for yelling, guys, but in the middle of this show, they are still trying to take away your health care and ruin the internet. Politico reporting that Trump has told advisors he wants to end payments of key Obamacare subsidies, a move that could send the health laws insurance markets into tailspin, and other reporting suggesting the administration has basically been telling insurers, get on board this or we're going to do this. They still have power and united government, and they still are pursuing this agenda.
I mean, I think that on the ground, the greatest force of resistance is coming over healthcare. I mean, we see it at these town halls. They're not coming in. I mean, you get a little bit of, you're just doing what Don Donald Trump wants you to, but you're also getting some very pointed questions about health care. And, you know, one thing that has come up, I think, through over the past couple of months in terms of Obamacare is that people are beginning to appreciate the patient protection part of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. The Affordable Care Act, as it came to be known, sort of oversold the affordable part, frankly.
Right.
But the patient protection part is something that fits, that affects a lot more Americans across the country.
ACA is the official name for the bill, the law. And I will say the final sort of closing thought here is that if they turn back to the agenda, I don't think there's a tremendous amount of clamoring for that health care bill or the tax cuts, frankly. So I'm not sure like pivoting back into that is going to be the thing that saves them politically. Leon Wolfe and Sam Sater, thanks to you both.